What's up guys, today we're going to be speedrunning the best IEMs from $500 to around 1,000 or maybe a little bit more depending on the IEM. Starting with the all-rounders, we got a new contender, the Zen's Top Pro. If you want something balanced, clean, but slightly sparkly, has a slight treble emphasis, but still pretty well balanced overall, then that would be the Top Pro. It's very detailed, very good value for the price. And if you want something that is also clean and balanced, but just more airy, smoother in the treble, still has a slight treble emphasis like the Top Pros, then that would be the Nice Hack Rockies. But these just come with ESCs for around the same price, a little bit more, also very good value like the Top Pros. Some other options here if you want something that is a little bit more traditional in the vocal gain, but still a good all-rounder set, this would be the Isle Volaire. If you want something that is equally smooth as the Rockies, it also has ESCs, but just has more vocal gain, more of like a Harman kind of tuning sound signature. You also got the Oracle Mark IIIs if you want something that is more U-shaped, something more bassy than the Top Pros and the Rockies, but you still get the extension afterwards in the treble. It also has ESCs for around 600, 550 on sale. An honorable mention here would be the High Senior Mega 5 ESC7, mainly because I got a lot of different units and the earlier ones had a more neutral kind of approach, very, I guess, just vanilla kind of sound. But the most recent unit that I got was pretty well rounded, nice bass texture, pretty good extension. But because of the earlier, I guess, unit variances, I can't fully recommend them, but if you do get the recent one, these are still pretty solid. Then moving up the price range, if you want a quote-unquote endgame all-rounder sound, I would go for the Monarch Mark IVs. You get two tuning switches, something that is bassier, and then something that's like clean, balanced, pretty smooth in the treble. Overall, just a good all-rounder set with the technicalities to back it up. You also have the Dunu Glaciers if you want a more sub-bass focused sound and more engaging listen. The vocals pop out more, it's a bit sharper in the imaging, not quite as smooth as the Monarch Mark IVs, but if you're looking for a more engaging, more aggressive listen, then the Glaciers are still pretty solid as well. And if you want to go up from the Monarch Mark IVs, these would be the Audio Valhallas. It is sub-bass focused, more of a U-shaped kind of sound, very great technicalities, layering, soundstage, and overall it is what you expect at Summit Fi level of $2,000. As for an honorable mention, if you want something smoother but with a good sub-bass punch, then you could try the Full Dawn X. Personally, I think the upper mids and the vocals are a little bit too pushed back, and it is not very dynamic in the transients. The treble is very smooth, but because it's smooth, the overall sound isn't too contrasty either. But if you're looking for something that is just non-fatiguing and with a good low end, then these would be okay. Then as for some bassy all-rounders, my pick here would be the new RS5 Mark IIs. These are very well balanced. You get the bass slam, you get the impact, you get the authority in the low end, you get the texture, you get the rumble, but it's also well balanced in the vocals, the treble. It's basically the RS5 but with more bass. I don't know what softwares are feeding their BAs, but the low end is very well done, and the extension in the mid-range, the vocals, treble, also pretty well balanced as well. So overall, it's just a very good bassy all-rounder. Another option here would be the Audio Origin, and the low-end texture here is a bit more unique, I guess you could say. It does have the bone conduction driver and is very well done. It's got the bounciness to it, but it's still got the rumble. You still get enough slam, and the overall tonality feels a little bit more energetic than the RS5 Mark IIs, a little bit more technical than the Mark IIs, but doesn't slam as much, not as thick as the Mark IIs. So depending on what you're looking for, you want something tighter in the low end, go for the Origin. If you want something that is slams heavier, go for the Mark IIs. Then moving up at around $1,000, my pick here would be the Monarch Mark IVs in the bass switch configuration. It has a very bassy, slightly warm kind of tonality, but still a good bassy all-rounder. You get the extension in the upper mids, the treble is good, the technicalities are there, and overall it's just a solid bassy all-rounder. Not as, I guess, unique as the Mark IIs and the Origin, because this is more of your traditional kind of like Harman bass boosted, but this is the most technical out of the bunch and the most quote-unquote refined compared to the other two. Speaking of technicalities, when it comes to detail and the overall treble presentation, my pick at around $500 would be the Nice Hack Rockies if you want something that is airy, smooth, but still treble leaning, and you get the detail and the micro nuances to the sound. Or you can go for the Top Pros if you want something that is more sparkly, something that is sharper in the imaging, has more upper mids emphasis, the vocals do pop out a little bit better on the top rows. But both of those are gonna be the best bang for your buck when it comes to detail as well as just treble performance. Then moving up from those, I would actually just skip the $1,000 mark, even the 1.5k mark, and jump right to the Condensa 12, because that difference is going to be more noticeable than going to something like the Monarch Mark 4s, the LTDs even. The Cat 12 is noticeably like more technical, sharper in the imaging. The overall market nuances pop out better on the Cat 12, the 2024 version. So if you have the money, I would just go straight to the Cat 12. But for most people who aren't chasing semi-fi performance, the Rockies and the top rows are more than enough when it comes to performance and just the detail retrieval. As for an honorable mention, the full canter is a very technical and detailed set. The treble is pretty smooth as well. But the issue I had with it is that after listening to it for around like 30 minutes, I had like a headache and a ringing sensation. There was pressure built up around my temple region. So I don't know if it's the ventilation, the BAs, the nozzle, or the treble boost, or a combination of all of them, but I did run into issues with the canter, and I do have somewhat sensitive hearing because to me it was a bit shrill and fatiguing, so I would definitely go demo these before pulling the trigger. Another option here would be the Mess Mark IIs. You can get these for under $1,000 on sale. They are similar in the Rocky sound-wise, airy, treble emphasis, but the main difference is that it's gonna pull out a little bit more detail. It's also bright leaning and balanced like the Rockies, but the imaging and the soundstage is just a little bit better, but it's also 2 times more. Moving on, as for a more neutral and laid back set, my pick at around $600 would be the Xuanwu Gate. You can get these for around $500, and these are as straight of a line, as neutral as it pretty much gets when it comes to having like a uncolored set. The accessories are great, the unboxing is great, the overall aesthetic and build is also great. I would personally stop at the Xuanwu Gate. I don't see a huge difference going up to 1k, 2k, and I personally wouldn't pay that much for a vanilla sound. Then as for vocals, we do have a new entry here, and that would be the Lecture Mystic 8. If you're looking for a sweet, airy, sparkly, highly detailed listen for female vocals, the Mystic 8 does that very well. It pretty much replaces the Diva for me. I think it's just a better version of the Divas. Now it doesn't have that much low end, but if you're looking for just female vocals, then I highly recommend the Mystic 8s. And then if you want something for male vocals, my pick would still be the original RS5s, even though I found out that the version that I got had a slight unit variance. So my unit of the RS5 is actually a lot better in my opinion than the actual RS5. It's still good for male vocals, just not as good as the unit variance unit that I got. Then as for an honorable mention, I would go with the Ziggurat Arcanus. They are just very unique in the sound. It's clean, but it's still powerful, it's extended, it's still natural, it's not too light, not too thin, not too husky either, but you do get the special sauce in the treble, which adds that goosebump and bite to the end nose, to the consonants. So it's a very unique listen. I would definitely recommend trying these out, but I know it might not be for everyone, so hence the honorable mention. But moving on, if you're looking for a bass head set at around $500, my pick here would be the Kiwirs HBB Punch. I think value-wise, this is the best bass head that you can get. It comes with ESTs, you get a good amount of slam, like in terms of like bass head level, it's enough. And then it's also well balanced in the upper mids, the treble, it's pretty smooth with the ESTs as well. So overall, the overall package is just very good as an all-rounders bass head set. Then moving on from those, we got the Symphonium Titans, and these are basically a more technical version of the HBB Punch. The tactility, the imaging, the transients are going to feel sharper, not quite as bassy and smooth as the Punch, but it's still enough for a bass head. I wouldn't say it's as good value wise versus the Punch, because it is almost like at least 2 times the price versus the Punch. But it is an option if you're looking for something that is more technical. And then lastly, if you want something that is more V-shaped, something that's sharp in the imaging, very, quote unquote detailed in the treble, it's very surgical in the overall, layering, technicalities, this would be the Crimson, a very technical set that is slightly energetic and a slight V-shape that is more engaging and fun to listen to. Then as for warm and scaling sets at around $500, my pick here for a warm set would be the Symphonium Meteors. It is thick, it's warm, it's bassy, it's fun, but you get the airiness and the extension in the treble at the same time. Been my recommendation for a reason all these years, because it is still very good. Then moving up from that, you got the Sophier's Twilight if you want something that is more vocal centric but still a little bit warm at the same time, not as bassy as the Meteors, but overall better balance for vocals, but still giving you like a hint of the warmness. So give these a shot when it goes on sale for around $700. Then moving up from the Twilights, we got the FIO FX17. These are basically the Twilights but with more sub bass, more rumble, better bass texture in the sub bass, and then a little bit more detail, more airiness and treble extension in the higher frequencies. So if you want a warm all-rounder, then the FX17 is pretty solid overall. Then if you want something that is bassier that still scales great, these would be the ZGAT HBB Jupiters. Chris essentially made these to be a bassy high volume set, and they do that very well. So I would definitely give these a shot if you're looking for a bass head at higher volumes. Then lastly, as for value at around $500, my pick here would be the Zen Top Pro and the Nice Hack Rockies. These two are a step above the rest when it comes to price to performance. You can get the Top Pros on sale for like $450. The Rockies, once it does go on sale, you can also get these probably for around $450. So at that price, it is very hard to beat when it comes to the performance that they're putting out. But an honorable mention here would be the IO Volare, mainly because it has 4 ESTs. It is very smooth, probably the smoothest out of the two, but in terms of like imaging, transients, detail, the Rockies and the Top Pros post out a tiny bit more than the Volares, but overall the Volare is still fantastic, and the unboxing packaging is also stellar for the price. Then lastly, moving up to endgame pricing at around $1,000, I personally wouldn't spend more than that when it comes to value. My pick here would be the Monarch Mark IVs, mainly because not only is it well tuned, it's smooth, you get ESTs, you get very good build, you get good packaging. Overall accessories are good as well, aside from the case is shit. But aside from that, the overall package is great, and on top of that you get 2 tuning switches, so essentially you get like a bassier all-rounder and then a clean sound as well. And for around $1,000, I don't think there's quite an IEM that matches it when it comes to versatility as well as technicalities. Aside from that, I hope this guide was helpful. Let me know what your favorites have been so far this year, and I will see you guys in the next one.
Shout out to Dom Q, Rox Cat, BURAC, Discal Scaldus, Walker Standard, Patrick, User, Cocaine Quaba Juice Gains, Mr. Gorillas, Polly J, Giseng Young, Christopher Jackson, Henry Claudia, Son of a Horse, 777ZK, Wizard, Obi, Treble Extended, Frickalicious, Ricardo, Tapis Art, Chuckle Norris, Shrimp Bakale, FKSRG, Cousin Fat Fat, Julius Phillip, Dead Riddle, Belha, Ardmore, Nico, Parham, Addy, Michael, Trackstar LL here, Sharjip, Tortcog, Ryan, Shuri, Raphael, I am J-Rack, Ori, June, Hakase, Effie Nadim, EGC, Raj, Chimika, Nostov, Javir, CB952, Galbog, AK131, James, Sanadan, Brian Carson, Alejandro, Bernach, and MN Gelato. Thank you guys so much for the support.